All right, now we're going to roll right into our next session, which is Media Valet. And Corey Kennedy has joined us. Corey is CAI's creative director, and she has been the driving force behind Media Valet.
All right. Okay, so it looks like we've got most people are using it, only about 4 who are not. What I thought would be good to do today is just a quick walkthrough of what we've got that's new, point out a couple of things, and then I think that Julia is going to talk to us a little bit about some things that she's been able to do with it. But we're on the landing page, kind of the home screen. One of the things that I wanted to just remind everyone of is that the way that you see it is customized to you. So as I show you how to do things, you can make this experience a custom experience for yourself, and you are not affecting the way that everyone else sees it. So that's just kind of one of the helpful tools. Let me close this up to make it a little less overwhelming. Just as a quick reminder, under this home folder, this is kind of just a default. It'll show you what is viewed the most. I always like to point out the recently uploaded tab, because it's a good way to kind of check in and see, like, well, what's new since I've been here last. We go through phases where we're uploading, dozens of files in one day, and then we might have a couple of weeks where we haven't had anything that is new that we're working on. So that always kind of gives you a little cheat to see what's new. Some of this stuff, I can tell you, you might be like, I don't even know what that is, and I don't know why I would want to use it. But we have all of our business partner logos at the national level in here. We decided to open that up to you guys because some of those chapters have very tight chapter relationships. And so we just thought, well, it's sort of silly not to share that with everyone, so everyone would have access to it. This logo here, I think, is related to CAM-ICB. So sometimes you may come across things where you're like, I don't, this is not great, but it's all here. This folder, Introduction and Help, is kind of a high-level folder that is supplied by Media Valet, the vendor. So there's just one-pagers on how to do things if you just need a quick refresher. They try to keep these updated. Some are videos, some are just one-pagers. The library is really where everything is. And so what we have created here, this folder that says Media Valet Help Assets, these are our specific trainings that we did back in September that were recorded. I'm not going to walk through everything the same way that we did then, because I thought it might be more helpful to make this more of a Q&A for you guys. So if you have not used Media Valet yet, I would encourage you to come in, and these are essentially the same videos. They're just different days. So you could just choose one of them. I believe this one is staff, and then this one is chapters. So, just kind of watching to see what everybody else, the questions that people asked as you went through is a useful thing. But I wanted to kind of go through some of our newer things. We are still experimenting a little bit with how we organize the content here, and kind of along the lines of what Lee was talking about. And isn't Lee awesome, by the way? We've been really excited since she's joined our team, but I was just thinking she's does such a great job with presenting. And we have a daily meeting, so she keeps us entertained every day. But along the lines of content that could be repurposed or used, we have this folder called Seasonal and Topical. And this is where we tend to put things that we think could be used by any chapter any of the time. Sometimes it's just going to be images. Sometimes there actually will be, infographics, things that could be shared. Under pets and assistance animals, I think we have a little bit more, because we've got the assistance animals chart that is new. This is the new ruling on FHA. So there's really kind of a varying degree of what you'll find here, but if you're just looking for something to share with your members, this is probably a good place to start. One of the other things that I wanted to make sure to point out, because we've been doing a lot of work on it, is the photos section. So when we started, if you remember, We had the custom image library, which are stock images that we had commissioned so that everyone would have the rights to use them. And then we had maybe a handful of other images. We've since been adding quite a bit. This license-free image library includes things that we've just added through the year as we've used them, sometimes in response to specific requests. They are things that you can use without any trouble. There's no license required. A few of them do require a little bit of attribution. And so if you decided to use this image, for example, and you click on the eye, it will tell you under the comments how to attribute that image. It's just, I'm not going to follow up to make sure you did it. It's just something that the provider of those images requests, and so we like to share that and pass it along. We have added over the past several weeks lots and lots of event photos. So for example, on my left-hand tab here, you can see that we have conference photos now going back kind of I think every year to 2003. They're not all fabulous. It just depends on the year and the photographer, but they're here. One of the things that we've been trying to do from the national perspective is really get more photos of our members out there. We want this to be, gosh, I forgot all about this bulletin board that we did in 2004. This is what bulletin boards used to look like, I suppose. So when we are trying to share more images on social media, other things, we really find, and Lee can jump in on this, we get much better response if people see pictures of people they know or of themselves. And so it's really driven a lot of our metrics. And so what we've decided to do is make more of our historical photo archive available. So we've been working on getting it loaded. It's all here. We're adding to it as we can. This is probably a good time for me to let you guys know if you have photos that you would be willing to share with everyone and put into Media Valet, and you can send them to me. I'll make sure they get added. I'm sorry, I didn't have the chat open. So I will do that. So Stephanie's asked a question, which I'm going to get to in 1 second. But just to kind of reiterate, if you have any photos that you would like to share, please share them with me and I will add them in here. And that creates more for everyone else to be using. Some of these are just general, member communities as we're taking photos of communities or as they're sharing with us for stories or features. We're trying to put them in here to make them more accessible to everyone as well. Okay, so Stephanie's asking if there's a brand style guide on Media Valet. There's not yet, but I am working on one. We are kind of in the process of rolling out a slightly new look and feel. You're probably seeing it more. Let me pull up more recent work just so you can get an idea. We just launched this piece last week, the Diverse and Inclusive Communities Guide. So these kind of branding elements, the curved box that overlays the image, those types of things we're incorporating more. We're still using Avenir quite extensively, but we're trying to kind of streamline color a little bit. And so I'm working on, I've kind of had to, the best way I can put it is sort of learn the language myself. And then it's helping me to kind of create templates and things that are going to be easier for you guys to work from. So that's where we are with that. But you can get a sense of what we're doing. The biggest thing is we're really working on trying to get photographs integrated as much as we can. Another example of that is our promotion for the conference in August. Oops, these are actually photos of the property. But we're trying to do some more promotion that incorporates, like these are actual conference photos from, I think, 2018. And we're trying to incorporate more images that actually show our people. And that's going to be our general plan moving forward with conference promotion, is you'll start seeing more images. We'll have some pictures of Las Vegas, but we're going to try to do more. I know Chris is on this call. We had some of the, we don't have the video in here yet, but there is a video that the folks in the Las Vegas chapter made for us that we have been using to promote the conference as well. So that's kind of more of our focus moving forward. One quick thing I wanted to show you all, and then I will open it up to questions just as a reminder, is how to make a light box. This is something that can be a really useful tool as you're working through different things. I'm going to start in just for ease of purposes, I'm going to go in the custom image library. This is actually one that I made earlier today for Laura, who does our social media, because she was looking for images that could be used to recognize Earth Day. And so I said, well, you know what? We have a lot of things that are kind of peripherally related to Earth Day. So I went through and just selected a handful of images for her. And of course now, here we go. It's like, now I won't be able to find the ones that I was thinking of earlier. But like, here's neighbors picking up trash. We have cleaning up the beach. There could be, here's more neighbors picking up trash. Here's more cleaning up the beach. So as I find things that I think I might like to use, I just select them. And then I come up here to where it says more. Oh, sorry, wrong tab. I click add to lightbox. Oh, sorry. I have to actually create a lightbox first. I apologize. I should have practiced this. So let's say I want to make a lightbox for Earth Day. I'm going to hit create. All right, so it's there now. And then I'm going to go back to this page where I've selected these images. Click add to lightbox. I select Earth Day and add. And then now when I go, I can see that just those images have been narrowed down for Earth Day. Now again, this is just for you. So you are not affecting the way anyone else sees this platform. You're not pulling anything out of the library. You're just kind of making like a mock-up for yourself. So if you wanted to share this, maybe there's someone on your team that's putting together a promotion of some kind, you can mouse over this little icon, which means share. And you can share it as a web gallery. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And you can create a link. And when you hit share, it's created this link. You just copy it and you can paste it into an email, a text, a Teams message, anything like that. So in fact, I can just put it into the chat just so you can test it out later. Oops. And then that should work. So that's kind of a handy little thing, especially if you're you're not sure what you want to use and you want to pull 2 or 3 items before you actually commit to something. All right, I think that was all I really was specifically wanting to call out, but if anyone has any questions, or actually, why don't we do this? Should we cut to Julia, Emily?
Sure, yeah, Stephanie does have one question.
Oh, another one, got it.
What is the proper way to brand CAI in all caps or in lowercase letters? Because she sees it both ways.
Yes, you do. I would say that if it's in text, it is, you know, like here is a example. This hashtag we are CAI, all caps here. If it's in the middle of the URL, it would be lowercase. We're really getting away. Some of our older materials do show a lot more use of upper lowercase. And so we're getting away from more of the lowercase use. We're not doing it as much. It wouldn't be wrong if you did it. We're trying not to do it very often. So anytime I think if it's in a URL is probably the only time you're going to want to put it in lowercase letters. Otherwise, it would be uppercase. This is another example. Let me click on this icon. So this is what we've referred to as our acronym logo. It's probably on a lot of materials. You're still welcome to use it if it's in an existing piece. It's something that we're using quite a bit for digital platforms, and we've just made the decision in the last couple of months to get away from that. When the space really doesn't permit the full use of the logo, and you all probably have had many cases where it doesn't, it's okay to use it. We're just trying to not have it be our primary use. So it's still on a lot of pieces. Tom's feeling is that we have an opportunity to really give people a better idea of who we are in the public arena. And so using the acronym logo doesn't really tell them as much about us as using the full logo with our full name. However, he knows that that's not always going to be feasible. It's not necessarily possible. It's still in use in this logo form, just not as often. We really are trying to limit that. So the newer pieces that we're creating have the full logo on it. We never did really come up with a version of the chapter logo that was based on the acronym. So, certainly you can use the CAI acronym when you need to, but otherwise you should just be using your full version of your chapter logo on pieces. So yeah, so hopefully that answered the logo question too, Stephanie. And I will tell you, we've been looking at this on an evolving basis. There's just from sheer volume, we just don't have the time to halt everything and really put the time into thinking it through, changing things and rolling it all out again. It's just not very practical. So what I'd say is we're taking a very liberal view of, we're working towards a certain standard, and we're going to keep you guys up to date as we get there, but you're not going to hear from us saying, what in the world are you doing using that acronym logo? We're kind of just shifting away from it. So if that helps.
Right. Thank you, Corey. And Julia, I know we asked you to talk a little bit about how you use Media Valet, and we know that you are one of the people who have downloaded the most items from Media Valet. Yes, and so if you would share a little bit about how you're using it and that sort of thing, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. So, I don't use it every day, but I have it in my browser automatically open up with the view where it shows the recently uploaded images. So I kind of look sometimes there just to see what, I guess National is working on in case I needed, to add something to my newsletter, or especially when I do my newsletter, I go, look through the library. Usually I search for either pictures that might fit to my articles. But that's really how I use it. Basically just looking regularly through the recently uploaded ones to see if there's anything when I work on something would fit well.
Great. Yeah, that is one good tip that I think is important, is always look through that recently uploaded when you get ready to do your newsletters or any type of publication, because you're going to find a lot of good things and the most recent things there, like you said.
Yeah.
So thanks, Julia.
So kind of to that end, thank you, Julia. I appreciate that. And
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was just laughing because I can pull statistics on who's our top users. I was like, Julia is definitely our power user. So let's talk to her. Most downloads, which is good. So I wanted to kind of just point out too, we've really been trying to include more of our thumbnail. I would just say the best way to describe them are thumbnail issues, things that we put into emails that we send out. So CAI at Home newsletter goes to all CAI members. But if you are trying to kind of pull that content into your newsletter, it might just be a little bit easier for you to pull the individual images directly. So those are, we usually load them in. I actually load them in as we're sending CAI at Home out. There's an archive with past images. So like if you were going to put a newsletter story together, for example, about the college graduate program, there are thumbnail images that you can use in here to go along with that. So they're CAI Press, we have the same thing. A lot of our CAI Press book covers, things that might be sized a little bit more appropriately for email are going to be in this folder here under the periodicals, publications, and CAI Press. Just because that may facilitate, how you're putting together. I know everyone's using different platforms for email newsletters. Everyone's using different things for their websites. So some of these images and graphics in particular are already sized for web use. And so they're maybe going to be a little less cumbersome to work from. I'm going to go to the CAI at Home really quickly. One other thing that I think this was passed along to Emily as a suggestion right before the meeting, and it's a great idea. Someone suggested putting content for social media posts, like the actual post copy, which I think is great, and we can work on doing that. One of the things that we try to do, I'll pick one and I will not have done it accurately is my guess. I've been trying to include within, as I upload things, any information that's relevant to that, that particular image. So for example, under this image, which we used in the March issue of CAI at Home, to go with the vaccine story, you can come in and see, what size it is, the resolution. This is 72 dpi, which is perfect for screen, but would be way too small for print. It can kind of tell you a little bit more. So this is, of course, I did this to myself. This is not one that I put the link on. I'm trying to add the link. Actually, I do know where I think I've added it here. Nope, probably not. Anyway, I'm working on this. It just takes a habit, actually. I'm trying to include link information and anything else that would be relevant to you so that as you pull the asset up, you know where it should go. You don't have to think about it or figure out like, well, where am I linking this to? So these are all habits we're trying to just kind of instill in ourselves. And I think once we get there, it's going to be even more helpful and robust. So those are another area that I wanted to point out. Any other questions?
Are there any other CEDs that are using it in a different way than Julia? Like, I'd like to hear, what you guys are looking. Are there things that you'd like to see more of? Is it helpful to have various things that Corey's highlighted?
I just have a suggestion, like for the PMD courses, a lot of it, when we have some here, when we do social media, it would be nice to have like more content or images around those classes to kind of help spruce the, what each one is. I know there's descriptions when you go onto the website, but do you have like the PMDP, like, I don't know, images or, like I said, blurbs about each class that we can kind of put into our either emails or social media platforms?
Yeah, and Stephanie, sorry, this year has been kind of a weird year because of the fact that we haven't been hosting classes in person. And they've been, for a while, they were kind of worried about capacity. This is actually old. I'm pulling up older courses or older ads. They're from 2020. So eventually I'll be taking these down because it's got outdated sponsor information. We also had we were starting for a while to promote the live virtual classes, but we've even really gotten away from that because we've been finding we don't need to do a lot, that when we send an email that they fill out very quickly or they get full. So Chris, I don't know if you're using One thing I've been trying to do this year is just general education promotion under 2021. We have several print ads in this section that relate to this year's education catalog and approach, look and feel. So this folder has both print ads as well as social media graphics, share graphics. We also have been trying to do some individual, oh, this is very old, you can tell. The online course, oh, here it is, sorry. It's like, I know what I'm looking for here. The online courses I'm in the process of updating. And so I actually, you can see here that the M100 is available. These are just to promote the straight up online version of the courses. So it's not for a live class. It can be used at any time because these are relevant all the time. I actually am behind on getting these uploaded. I have 2 or 3 more that I've done. Adina and the New England chapter has helped keep me on my toes because they keep putting them in their magazine as well. And so I have 2 or 3 that I've done for them with the intent of sharing them with everyone. And I just haven't actually added them to the platform yet, but they're coming. So the education program is kind of another area. You can see a tremendous shift from the look and feel of these older ones and the new one. So what we'd like to do is just sort of roll out the new look and feel across all of the online courses. Eventually, when we start offering in-person classes again, we'll do the same thing with the new courses to do that. And they're just going to be added on a regular basis. It's kind of on my running list of things to do. And every day when I get started at work, it seems like 10 requests come in before I can even get to any of my back burner items. So actually I'm seeing a question from Kathy about community conversations. This may be a little weird. We put community conversations under events because we felt like it really is more of an event. And so there are resources here that you can use. Let's see, mostly we've done social media or share graphics for that. Some of them have the full details of the actual date that's scheduled, the upcoming topic, and then others can be used to kind of tease, like the way that Laura tends to do it is she'll share, one that has full information and then follow up a couple days later with just an image and then put the information in the social media post. This is probably a good place where if we could provide, Lee, if you can help me remember this to talk about in our meeting, I think if we could add sample social media copy to this, these icons, it would help then making sure that everybody's got the same information and same messaging to go from.
And we're working, I believe, on finalizing the next content. I'm hoping to get that out in the next couple of days if we can finalize that for May.
Yeah, and so I think to that end, I think Rachel mentioned a homeowner leader ad. There's some, education is split into what feels like a million categories because we have so many different aspects of education. So the board leader certificate program is kept separate from PMDP. So it helps you kind of look by your audience, I think, more than anything is how we've tried to think of it here. And then credentials and designations are also sort of separate because those are always good things to promote. Something that might be an easy thing to do, maybe. I always say maybe, I don't know how heavy a lift it would be, but if you have, members in your chapter who have earned the designation, it could be an easy way to promote both the designation and that member. So you can certainly use any of these resources or simply share a photograph of that member and just say something like, congratulations to this person who has recently received his or her PCAM. That's just kind of I think, the more we can do of that, probably the better.
So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful afternoon and we will see you guys very soon.
If you have any questions, please contact a member of the Chapter Relations team or email chapterlearning@caionline.org.